Welcome to World Kowledge channel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's learn more about the characteristics of a girl that can make boys constantly fascinated and ready to give absolute scores. Although appearance can attract at first sight, it is the inner characteristics that are the factors that keep feelings lasting. Here are the opinions of men who rate women 10 points. Let's find out through the video. 1. That is a woman who speaks moderately. My friend Alex shared, I have a mother and a sister who talk too much. I used to go crazy every time I came home because I had to face those two women. But fortunately, the girl I love is the complete opposite. She speaks very moderately and almost never nags me about anything. Even if I make a mistake, she only reminds me once. Not nagging me many times or bringing up old stories over and over again. I really respect and appreciate her for that personality. It is not easy to restrain your ego when facing a pressing issue. Yet she always appears calm and speaks cautiously when facing everything. She never overreacts to an unimportant issue. She chooses peace over arguing. Unless between we had a really big problem. But in fact, the arguments between her and I only stopped at the point of distinguishing right from wrong. Right from wrong, and there was no shouting at each other or talking about the same issue over and over again. The fact that she only said what was worth saying is really a quality worth 10 points. 2. Women independent in economy, ideology, love, Sophie shared, in any aspect, emotional, financial or ideological, my old girl has always maintained her own independence. She is an ex-lover. Someone who never knew dependence on men or anyone else. I think what makes her completely different from many other girls is her independence. Even though we don't have the chance to continue on the path of life together. Her personality deserves a 10. More than the beauty of hot girls or the wealth of rich young ladies. 3. Smart, sharp women. Emily shared, it doesn't take much effort to cut down a good girl. But in the long run, I think every man wants to go further with a smart, sharp girl. My ideal girlfriend is a girl who is smart enough to express her understanding of every problem. She never falls into a state of confusion when facing a difficult situation. She can be a bit mean, a bit formidable, but the intelligence and sharpness of these girls deserve a 10 more than anything. 4. Women feminine charm. Mason shared, I don't like to embellish anyone. I just want to see things with a realistic eye. So, don't throw stones when I put feminine charm at the top, and it is the point I mark the highest in a girlfriend. In my opinion, an ideal girlfriend must be someone who attracts me from the first time. Specifically, she doesn't need to be beautiful but must have something that attracts me. Arouses the desire to be close and further. Has harmony with me in bed. A boring sex life will definitely hinder a long-term relationship. The pinnacle of feminine charm turns a girl into an interesting lover in bed. So that girl must always be confident in her body and know how to seduce the other person. Such women are wonderful. 5. Friendly women. Alex Tin shared, I have witnessed many friendships gradually becoming distant when someone falls in love. The reason is because the guy falls in love with a cold, unapproachable girl. As we all know, if you love a friendly girl, your relationships will multiply. The distance between you, that person, friends will also become closer. Loving a girl like that, you will never be afraid of losing friends and relationships because of your lover. In addition, she is also the one who brings you more joy thanks to gatherings with both of your friends. If you have followed this far, please leave a comment "I want happiness" so that you will give us more motivation to make more meaningful videos. If you haven't liked the video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel to support us. We will give you a heart. Thank you very much. 6. Women who know how to support their boyfriends. Tom shared, "Every man, young or old, needs a woman by his side to encourage him to become a more complete person. So finding a girlfriend who always knows how to support and help him develop is the desire of all men. Therefore, it is not difficult to understand why men always appreciate girls who always know how to encourage their men to become better at work, in relationships, or even in their responsibilities as a child to the family." Among the countless outstanding characteristics of women, I always think that any girl who possesses the above qualities is completely worthy of a score of 10 and becomes the desired model of most men. The characteristics of a girl who is rated 10 points are not only external factors but also deeply reflect her inner value. From confidence, intelligence, independent personality, to communication skills and sophistication in behavior, all create a perfect image that guys desire. When a woman knows how to cultivate these qualities, she not only attracts attention but can also build deep and sustainable relationships. In the end, becoming an ideal girlfriend is not only about pleasing others but also about loving yourself, perfecting yourself, and living a meaningful life. Because, when you know your own value, you will not only be an option, but also an indispensable part of other people's lives. We can see, the more flirtatious men are, the more jealous they are. Let's find out what that is like. He is more likely to fall into a state of intense jealousy and lose control. This may seem paradoxical, but the fact is that men who have had many extramarital affairs often carry with them a sense of insecurity. They begin to think that if they can easily deceive others, then their wives are also capable of doing the same. Jealousy is not simply an expression of affection but also comes from the fear of being betrayed. So why do these men overreact like that? And what do they do when they cannot control their jealousy? The more a womanizer, the more insanely jealous a man is. Every time he sees his wife smiling at any man, Kwang feels like he is sitting on a pile of fire. He keeps imagining that his wife is as easy as his mistress's and wants to go crazy. The more a womanizer a husband is, the less assured he is about his wife's loyalty. These men reasoned like this: why are women so easy nowadays? If I can do it, then surely other men can do it too. Every time Luke saw his wife, Anna, smiling at any man, he felt like he was sitting on a pile of fire. In his mind, images of his wife being as easy as the other women he had been with always appeared. Even though Anna showed no unusual signs, Luke still could not stop being jealous, worried and suspicious of his wife. Men like Luke, the more they flirt, the more worried they are about their wives' fidelity. They always think, if I can easily cheat, then someone else can also seduce my wife. From there, they often create scenarios in their heads, leading to unreasonable and uncontrollable jealousy. In the story of Rachel and David, everything started when David accidentally discovered that Rachel had a private blog account where she used to write about her past. In it, the article mentioned Rachel's first love, even though it was a long time ago. However, David could not accept it. He insisted that his wife and her ex were still in contact, even though Rachel had explained that it was just an old memory and that nothing existed between them. but because David himself had also had an affair. He imposed his thoughts on Rachel and believed that old love comes without invitation. Suspicion arose. James was a womanizer, having secretly had affairs with many other women behind his wife's back. Laura was so used to this that she gradually no longer wanted to confront or argue. She was tired and only asked one thing: do whatever you want. Just don't leave any consequences for the family. She often hugged her pillow and went to sleep in another room, leaving James alone. Laura's indifference made James feel more insecure than ever. He began to suspect that his wife also had someone outside. Even though Laura showed no unusual behavior, James was always looking for signs to expose his wife. Every time he saw his wife putting on makeup to go out, he would sarcastically say, "Are you going to meet someone? You must have a lot of followers like this." When Laura put her phone on silent, James would ask, "Are you afraid of someone calling that you have to keep it quiet?" Judging others by yourself, type of jealousy. Ton's unreasonable jealousy stems from his subjective thinking and past experiences. After having easy relationships, Ton formed the mindset that women can betray him at any time, especially when given the opportunity. When he saw Hong laughing or being close to her colleagues, he could not stop himself from comparing and speculating, leading to blind jealousy. The prominent feature of this type of jealousy is that the husband imposes his thoughts on his wife, thinking that if he can easily cheat, his wife can do the same. This creates a vicious cycle, where the man cannot trust himself, and thus loses trust in his wife. Ethan's irrational jealousy stems from his subjective thinking and past experiences. After having easy relationships, Ethan has formed the mindset that women can betray at any time, especially when given the opportunity. When he sees Lily laughing or being close to her colleagues, he cannot help but compare and speculate, leading to blind jealousy. The prominent feature of this type of jealousy is that the husband imposes his thoughts on his wife, thinking that if he can easily cheat, then his wife can do the same. This creates a vicious cycle, when the man cannot trust himself, and thus also loses trust in his wife. Ethan's irrational jealousy not only hurts Lily, but also seriously affects their marriage. Lily, a wife who has always lived a proper life, feels unfairly treated and tightly controlled. Ethan's actions create heavy psychological pressure on her, gradually pushing her away from her husband. Once trust is broken, love becomes fragile, and the marriage is easily broken. If Ethan does not realize and change his behavior, the relationship between the two will continue to become tense, leading to irreparable consequences. Meanwhile, Lily will feel increasingly suffocated and tired, which may lead to an explosion later. This type of jealousy, perhaps, comes from the subjective consciousness of husbands. This means that, when seeing other men next to their wives, husbands immediately remember their own philandering and the easygoing nature of their mistress. Respect and happiness in marriage. To avoid unfortunate consequences, early recognition and finding a solution is extremely important. Both need to openly talk, build mutual trust, and if necessary, seek support from experts to help restore and maintain a strong relationship. How to deal with a jealous husband unfounded. The wife should persistently influence her husband by living a serious and proper life. The wife should avoid intimate and casual gestures with people of the opposite sex so that her husband does not misunderstand. If the husband has any concerns, the wife should use gentle words to analyze, Avoid the silent mentality or the challenging behavior with her husband, such as, "Do you think everyone is like you?" This makes the husband even more jealous. Many wives choose the solution of temporarily leaving her husband to wake up. However, psychological experts say that this method is not effective. It only makes the husband more insecure and crazy, jealous. If the husband's jealousy becomes more and more excessive, or the wife is often insulted and cursed by her husband, the wife should look for a more positive solution. She can seek advice from psychological experts to properly cure her husband's jealousy. When faced with unreasonable jealousy from her husband, the wife should maintain a proper lifestyle, avoid misunderstandings, and always be gentle in her behavior. Patiently explaining and avoiding confrontation will help her husband understand and gradually reduce his jealousy. If the situation becomes serious, consider seeing a psychologist for a suitable solution to protect the relationship in a positive way. We can see that the hysterical jealousy of philandering men often stems from their own fear and obsession with betrayal. Having experienced dishonest relationships, they become distrustful of both themselves and others. It is this judging others by yourself way of thinking that makes them unable to trust their wives, leading to unreasonable, controlling, and jealous actions. As a result, not only is the relationship between husband and wife affected, but family happiness also becomes more fragile than ever. If men do not learn to perceive and solve problems rationally, they will only push themselves and their partners into a spiral of suffering and conflict. The risk of family breakdown due to a foolish, one-night stand. This story is no longer too strange, but every time it is mentioned, it still makes many people startled and think about the consequences of moments of weakness. A moment of rashness, a wrong decision in the blink of an eye can turn a peaceful family life upside down. Many people have had to face the breakdown of happiness because of just one wrong night. When temptation and temporary emotions overcome reason. So, how have these situations pushed family relationships to the risk of collapse? Let's take a closer look to learn valuable lessons. James and Emily are a couple who have lived together for more than 10 years. They have 2 lovely children and their family life seems very peaceful and happy. However, James made a mistake that he never thought would happen to him. A quick love affair that only lasted for one night. The story begins when James is on a business trip to another city. During a meeting with partners and friends after work, he drinks more than usual and gets caught up in the fun atmosphere. That night, a female colleague of James, who has also had a bit of alcohol, starts to act more intimate than usual. In a moment of insanity, James and the girl spend the night together. James did not expect that this mistake would cause him to fall into a state of anxiety for weeks after that. He could not sleep well, always afraid that Emily would find out. But things got worse when the girl started texting James, hinting that she wanted to maintain this relationship. One day, Emily accidentally saw strange messages from the female colleague on her husband's phone. At first, she thought it was about work, but gradually, her suspicions grew. She decided to confront James, and at that moment, James could not hide it anymore. He confessed everything. Emily could not believe what she had just heard. All the feelings of security and trust she had with James seemed to disappear. She felt bitterly betrayed. For a moment, Emily thought about leaving James and ending the marriage. But she still loved her husband and did not want her children to be affected by this. They decided to temporarily separate for a while to think. James tried every way to make up for his mistakes. From completely cutting off contact with the other woman to spending more time with his family. He understood that only sincerity, patience and time could help Emily gradually regain her trust. Emily, although heartbroken, could not deny that James had always been a good husband and a loving father to her children. After a long time of thinking, she decided to give him a chance to prove that he was truly remorseful and wanted to save the family's happiness. However, rebuilding trust was a difficult journey, and both had to overcome it together to preserve their home. James and Emily's story is a reminder that one momentary mistake can ruin a life. In marriage, honesty and mutual respect are always paramount, and sometimes a moment of misstep can lead to unforeseen consequences. Family happiness, which is built on trust and mutual respect, can easily collapse when one of the two people is no longer loyal. Feelings of guilt, suspicion, and distance can then become a major obstacle in the relationship. If the problem is not faced and resolved skillfully, the marriage will be at risk of breaking up. This is a reminder that, in any circumstance, sobriety and responsibility are always the keys to protecting love and family from the storms of everyday life. A moment of lack of sobriety can bring unpredictable consequences, destroying trust and family happiness. One-night stands not only cause mental damage to the spouse but also push the marriage to the brink of collapse. To maintain happiness, each person needs to be alert, loyal, and responsible for their love. If you find the video useful, please share it with others. Subscribe to the channel, like it, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you in the next video.